Multiple anonymous Twitter accounts seem to be dedicated to pop culture news, but instead have taken to waging war on Donald Trump. And these are accounts that we often go to curate information for this show. Their names are Pop Crave and Pop Base, but there are many others that are similar in their business model. And I've noticed, especially in the past few days, half or more than half of their posts are not announcing things about pop stars or actors or movies. They're announcing things about Donald Trump's executive orders or the inauguration or other political matters.
The thing that's interesting about it is the bit, like, for instance, if you're in this sphere, right, like politics and pop culture, they intersect more often than a lot of people would care to admit. And depending on where your area of focus is, it's going to come up more than others. It does come up a lot for us because what we do is tell you news stories and then give our thoughts and analysis of it. What sites like Pop Crave do, and the reason they're so popular is they're not really there to give analysis. They're just there to give you general updates. So you've only got so much space on the timeline. Now, if you're writing intellectual think pieces like a Vox or something, if, as much as you want to call it intellectual, that makes sense, right? You take something that crosses barriers and then you make an analysis of it. They're like, look, you've got so many posts in a day that people are going to be able to click on. They're dedicating a lot of space to things that don't really intersect with pop culture at all.
Right. Pop Crave is very explicitly a pop culture news outlet. Pop Base calls itself your number one resource for pop culture news, and yet a huge portion of their posts are political.
I mean, they
in
could
nature.
very easily make a separate site called Crave Politics, and they'd probably do.
Would it do well?
I think it would.
Or do you need to present this information under the guise of pop culture to reel in Gen Z who generally wouldn't consume this type of news? We have another 20 from Jose Quintana. Happy Thursday, Brett, Empress, and Phil. Just saw Den of Thieves 2, much better than I anticipated. Twists and turns, I recommend The Guy Who Ended All Things, A Human Tragedy. Long live PCC.
Thank you, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I watched The Count of Monte Cristo last night. It was fantastic. I had never fully seen the 2002 Jim Caviezel, Guy Pearce one. It was really good.
I just saw a tweet from Pop Crave on the day of the inauguration announcing, as Donald Trump was signing 78 executive orders his first day, Donald Trump has rescinded executive orders made by Joe Biden that benefited the following marginalized groups: women, LGBTQ plus community, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders.
Benefited them over who?
See, they're presenting this as objective information, and yet all of the posts have a certain slant to them. Even the photos that they choose of Donald Trump have a certain ideological slant to them. And I just felt the need to remind them, you know, you're a pop culture news outlet. Why should I follow you if this is what's going to be on my timeline?
I mean, people in the chat are going to say this as well. They're going to say, "Well, you guys talk about politics. Why shouldn't they?" I think it's a fair question. Like, why?
But what we do is cultural commentary, and when that naturally intersects with politics, I don't see any sort of contradiction there.
Yep.
But when they're presenting this news outlet as a pop culture news outlet that is unbiased, unslanted, just presenting the information, and then hypocritically posing it in a certain way, that's where I see a contradiction.
It is also interesting because I think the mode of how they deliver the information is relevant too. Because look, giving updates about album releases or when a new movie is coming out or showing a trailer fits within the context of like a small tweet, whereas politics, if you're talking about information, you're thinking long form articles and analysis, and you're not really seeing a lot of that there.
But they're presenting it to an audience that is always going to respond to that information in a certain way.
And they do have their own like inside joke on those pages where when they present something, it's like Donald Trump does this, it says, explain it in pop terms. Which is, for the people who don't understand, anything about politics, it's a good way to reel them in for the way they believe, for what things they believe.
So Pop Base allegedly is run by one individual woman. No one knows exactly who she is. Her identity remains a mystery. But Pop Crave is an actual company with employees, and we do know who runs it. Pop Crave is run by Will Cosme, who founded the media company in December of 2015. It's headquartered in Miami and operates a Twitter account that goes viral due to its frequent posting.
Is it Will Cosme, or is that a clever nickname for the man that actually runs it?
Who knows?
Bill Cosby.
I think it's Cosme. I thought it was Cosme.
Cosme?
Like,
Who knows?
Cosme.
I've never even seen a video of him. I've never seen a picture of him.
He's got a private Instagram page.
And here's the thing: like they have.
We have 220s though.
They have to put out more. They have to be more than one person uploading because they put out an insane amount.
He
of
has a
tweets.
team of employees, and they do have an actual website, unlike Popbase. Jose Quintana said, "Count of M." May check it out, Brett. Ghost Empress, as a woman, what is an appropriate legal punishment for men who do that in public? A fine, jail time, any shame, embarrassment. Truly, Empress, what?
What is the proper penalty, Mary, for the previous story?
I think the gallows would be fitting for that crime, if we still had those. Pop Culture Junkie said, I figure you folks are the perfect people to ask this question to. Do you think the definition of what is considered pop culture has narrowed or widened in the last 10 years?
Widened.
For sure.
That's actually a very interesting thing to discuss. Hold on one second.
Thank you.
There's another 20 there. Hold, please. But hold on. Let's So that's actually an interesting point of discussion, because one of the things that happens a lot on this channel is people have their own definition of what they consider to be pop culture. And then when you don't cover that specific thing that they want you to cover, they ask, why are you talking about this? It's not even pop culture. Well, one of the things that we've kind of come to understand is, like, if we're talking about my generation, you're talking about movies and television, IP, franchises. But if you're talking about Mary's generation, you're talking about TikTok and social media and trends and influencers. And the whole point is to kind of bridge the gap and be able to cover all of it as best you can.
Right. The whole existence of our channel and the eclectic nature of what we cover on this channel is a testament to the widening of what's still considered pop culture now compared to maybe 10, 20 years ago.
And in this space, you actually suffer upload-wise, because most YouTube channels benefit from a narrow frame of focus, meaning that you have your niche, you go after that audience with with that specific topic, and you build a loyal following, because, you know, a lot of people, to go search, you have to be really interested in something to go search out content for it, right? Not just something you come across while scrolling, but something that you care enough to go into a search bar and type, I want to know about this, I want to know about that. But when you have a wide frame of focus, it actually can make it harder for people to get into your channel, because they don't want to necessarily wade through 5 videos to find something that they're interested in.
We have another 20 from No Boost for You. Hi, PCC. My first super chat is divine. Help my daughter reach her Girl Scout cookie sales goal at yourcookiedealer.com. Much love. That's
man,
really cute.
it's hard to knock cookies, man.
Despite my...
I am not going to fund the Girl Scouts. I'm sorry, but I wish her the best of luck.
Despite my inherent disdain for, free child labor that comes from Girl Scouts, I hope you reach your goal.
The utterly ubiquitous
like
updates issued by Pop Crave and Popbase on celebrities, film, music, and greater pop culture effectively form Twitter's de facto news service, breaking timely stories as disparate as A-list breakups and bills being signed into law. Now, Pop Crave has been called the ESPN of pop music. And
they do focus heavily on music even more than any other type of pop culture.
Yeah, I have a helpful diagram, actually, to show the difference in the way that Gen Z consumes news compared to older generations. Pop Crave is their AP. Dumois is their NPR. Popbase is their Washington Post. Pop Tings is their HuffPost, and Buzzing Pop is their Breitbart.
I never see Buzzing Pop, so I can't actually confirm
I don't know.
Or deny
is that like the more right-leaning version of Pop Crave?
That's crazy.
That really should exist if it doesn't already.
Another funny one is Pop Slop, or Pop Flop.
Well, there are a bunch
Pop
of
Slop.
parody accounts
Poo
of
Crave.
all of these accounts, like Poo Crave and Pop Flop, and it just is a whole growing ecosystem of all these different anonymous accounts.
There's another 20 here from Just Cause I'm Free. Says, I have seen proof that Brett is full of it, and Mocha is in fact a cute derpy kitty. Justice for Mocha.
She is cute.
No.
We had justice for Mocha yesterday. Let it be known.
I did look. It's an ongoing joke. I do in fact love the derpy cat. I do. And going to the cat emergency room at midnight is something that no cat parent ever wants to do.
Looks like Pop Crave currently has 1.9 million followers on X, and Pop Base. Let me see which one is bigger.
I imagine. I feel like Pop Crave is, but I could be wrong.
Pop Base has 1.8.
Okay.
So they're about the same level, but it's mostly anonymous. Staff run a proper website that features interviews with celebrities, movie reviews, and photo galleries. But they also publish a lot of actual news items that you would find in a lot of these aforementioned mainstream media outlets. And this is kind of the left-wing version of alt media, if you think about it.
Yep.
And it just shows that there's such a difference in the way that Gen Z consumes.
Look, if they're looking for
news.
if they're looking for their as they keep talking about the left-wing Joe Rogan, this may be the place where they have to go to find it. But the thing is there's no face behind this. It's just the information.
Right.
You don't have a personality to latch onto.
Right, but they know who their audience is, and that's how they curate the way that they word things and the timing of the posts. You can definitely tell that there's a left-wing slant, but it's just subtle enough.
It's never bothered me. Like, look, like slants gonna, bias is gonna creep in anywhere. Like that doesn't. And when it comes to what we do, which is to take this information and then analyze what that means from our perspective, I appreciate giving it to me just the information and not the rest of the slant.
The only problem with it is that they're presenting political news to people, mainly Gen Z, who have no other way of consuming political news
and don't desire to go look deeper into the issues. It's one thing if we're talking about album sales. Oh, for instance, a great example, and it wasn't from them, it was from Discussing Film today. They posted the opening projections for Captain America Brave New World and said it's looking to open to about $95 million with a budget of $180 million. I am here to tell you that the budget for that movie is not $180 million, but it is a fantastic way to push the idea that that's what it would be.
When does it open?
I believe February 14th. Valentine's Day.
Nice.
So that's just another way. So at one point they were adding in the tax credits in their responses. The other thing was discussing film during the strike. Every time they would post any update about the strike, they would turn the comments off because they didn't want to let you. I'll give Pop Base this or Pop Crave this. I don't think I've ever seen them turn the comments off. If they have, it's been on a very small scale. It's not a ton of times. But whenever they would talk about the writer's strike or the actor's strike, they wouldn't let you have an opinion. They would shut the comments off, and they were very clearly biased towards the performers and the writers and not towards the studios.
Or if it's any post related to J.K. Rowling.
Yes. Oh,
off.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So that you can't see the huge cohort of people that are defending her.
Absolutely.
But they are specifically targeting a lot of social media users who are otherwise disengaged from politics, and this is the way they engage with it. It's the one singular way that a lot of Gen Z on X specifically are engaging with politics, and I do find that worrying.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.